Hello and welcome to Daily Current Affairs by Ekam IAS. Today is 28th June 2019 and the topics for discussion are National Mission on Natural Language Translation, PMGDISHA, FASTags, New India Limited, a MAP-aided program and previous year question revision series. Now coming to the first topic is National Mission on Natural Language Translation. Now why is this in news is because the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology will be placing this proposal before the Union Cabinet to establish a natural language translation. Another thing about this news is that this is one of the key missions under the PM-STIAC. Now PM-STIAC is Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council. Now let's talk about this mission. This mission is on natural language translation, aims to make science and technology accessible to all by facilitating access to teaching and researching material bilingually in English and in one's native language. Now to achieve this, the government plans to leverage a combination of machine translation and human translation methods. There will be various methods through which a machine itself can learn what language the input has been given through and what language the output should be given. For that, even both machine translation should be incorporated along with human translation methods. Now let's talk about PM-STIAC. Now PM-STIAC, the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council. Now this is an overarching body of assessment, creation and implementation for major scientific technology and innovation interventions for India. Now this is a 9-member body which has replaced the earlier scientific advisory committees for the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. Earlier, as you know, there used to be scientific advisory committees, but now instead of those, Prime Minister has introduced only a single body called the PM-STIAC. Now this is expected to act as a high-level advisory body to several ministries and execute mission-oriented programs. The PM-STIAC will be chaired by the principal scientific advisor, and this PM-STIAC will also facilitate the office of the principal scientific advisor to assess the status in specific science and technology domains and advise the Prime Minister accordingly. They can look into whatever program is there in a specific way. They can look into it and advise how the progress has been going on in the key missions or projects that they have implemented. Now let's talk about the difference between Scientific Advisory Council and the currently existing PM-STIAC. Now unlike the earlier Scientific Advisory Council, the secretaries of various scientific ministries such as education or maybe environment and health, now different secretaries from different ministries will be invited to the council meetings, and in addition to that, special invitees will also be introduced in the council meetings. Maybe experts in these fields can also be called. Now this is different from the earlier Scientific Advisory Council because such kind of invitations was not handed out to anyone. Now why this has been added is because earlier the case was in Scientific Advisory Councils, the situation was very formal. So they had to act in a very formal way. So there was no proper, there was proper communication of ideas, but for overflowing idea communication and being in the comfort zone for proper discussion and idea transfer, such a step had to be taken. So therefore in this one the members is allowed for free discussions also. Now unlike the earlier Scientific Advisory Council, PM-STIAC will be the only representative of the industry in terms of science. Earlier in Scientific Advisory Councils there used to be for maybe in defense, maybe there used to be one Scientific Advisory Council, or in case of something else, some other scientific research is required. For that another Scientific Advisory Council used to be made. Nothing of that sort is happening right now. Only PM-STIAC is the body, and that will be incorporated into whatever necessary industry is required. Now PM-STIAC has actually announced 9 national missions. Now these are very important. Now I'll read out. It is the Natural Language Translation Mission, Quantum Frontier, Artificial Intelligence, National Biodiversity Mission, Electric Vehicles, Bioscience for Human Health, Waste to Wealth, Deep Ocean Exploration, and Agni. Now here Agni does not stand for the missile. Here Agni stands for Accelerated Growth for New India's Innovation. So you're basically taking the technologies to commercialization. That is what the aim is here. Now coming to the next topic is PMGDISHA. Now PMGDISHA is in news because again the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has said that they would require more funds for properly implementing this digital literacy program. Now PM-DISHA stands for Pradhan Mantri Gramin Digital Shashastra Abhiyan. Now let's talk about the scheme. Now this scheme is to make 6 crore people in rural areas across state and UTs digitally literate by reaching around 40% of the households by covering at least one member from every eligible household by 31st March of 2019. Now this they have not been able to do this. That is why they're asking for more funds. Now this scheme looks into making at least one individual from every rural household digitally literate. Now the scheme would also empower the citizens in rural areas by training them to operate computer or digital access devices and therefore enable them to use information technology and related applications for their day-to-day life also, or maybe if they want to start something new, or for information technology or for information communication that they want, any information that they want from the government side, they'll be literate enough to use the information technology. Now PM-DISHA was started in February 2017 with an outlay of 2,351 crores. This is just a data, not very important. Now, this PM-DISHA is an extension of the National Digital Literacy Mission and Digital Shashastra Abhiyan between 2014 and 2016. Now, the implementation agency for PM-DISHA will be the Common Service Center E-Governance Services of India. The target for its digital literacy training on IT and applications including digital payments. Now, who all are eligible for the scheme? People who are eligible for the scheme are basically illiterate people from every eligible rural household, and they should be having a age gap is between from 14 years to 60 years. So from 14 to 60 years, anybody who is digitally illiterate from a rural household can join the scheme. Now coming to the next topic is FASTags. Now FASTag is in news because the government wants to increase the penetration of FASTag substantially to moving towards a 100% cashless process. Right now FASTag is basically when you go through toll booths, you will have to pay cash, right? Now instead of that, now the government is introducing this new concept called FASTag, and they've already introduced it also. Now they want to push it to 100% cashless transactions. Now FASTags are cards launched by National Highway Authority of India to allow cashless payments at toll fee to facilitate near non-stop movement of vehicles at toll plazas. Now it employs a RFID technology. Now RFID technology means radio frequency identification technology for making the toll payments directly from the prepaid account linked to it. So each and every RFID that you have, a person will be purchasing an RFID. Now with respect to that RFID, there will be a prepaid account linked to it. Just like your phones, you have a SIM, you will have a prepaid SIM. With that, every month you will add some money. How much ever calls you make, correspondingly the money from the account will be deducted. Similarly, here also the RFID will be there. There will be a account linked to it. You will be adding money into the account. Every time you pass a toll, the corresponding amount of the toll will be deducted from your account. That is how it is. Now here there is no stopping for payment of cash. You can directly go through it. And how this technology works is that there will be a detector at the plaza which can detect the number of cars which is coming through it and which car is coming through it. So once it has detected which car it is or who the RFID belongs to, the corresponding amount will be deducted from the person's account. This tag will be, the RFID tag will be attached to the windshield of the person or the person driving the car. The windshield will be stuck to that for easy identification. Now the customers will also receive SMS alerts on the registered mobile number for all transactions done on the tag account. Now FASTags has a validity for 5 years after purchasing it, and one only need to recharge, as I told you before, recharge it again and again as per requirement. Now coming to the next topic is Newspace India Limited. Now Newspace India Limited is in news because this is going to be the new commercial arm of ISRO. Now as you all will be knowing that ISRO also has another commercial arm. It's called Antrix. So let's talk about Newspace India Limited. Now this is a new company under the Department of Space to commercially exploit the research and development work of Indian Space Research Organization ISRO. The Newspace India Limited was incorporated in March 6 of 2019 for commercially utilizing research and development activities carried out by ISRO in the area of space. Now it has an authorized share capital of rupees 100 crores and initial paid up capital for it was rupees 10 crores. So let's talk about the objectives of Newspace India Limited. The main objective is to scale up industry participation in Indian space programs. Now it will act as a mediator or a link between ISRO and industry and facilitate the transfer of ISRO technologies to private companies. Now this is a very important area because all the technologies that ISRO is not just about sending rockets to space or just studying space missions. They also do a lot of other experiments and other industry based developments they do make. But issue is that by the time they make it, but the industry are not able to get it properly, get the technology properly or the know-how about it properly. So one objective of NSIL or Newspace India Limited is to connect industry and ISRO so that there's proper linking, and this will also lead to linking not just of the industry, of private companies also, so that in overall state and private there is total development happening in the country. Now NSIL will be based in Bangalore and it is the Department of Space. This is the second commercial entity of Department of Space. As I told you earlier, the first one was Antrix. Now the functions of NSIL, I'll talk about that. It's a small satellite technology transfer to industry, wherein NSIL will obtain license from DSOs or ISRO, that is Department of Space or ISRO, and sub-license it to industries. Now the second function is manufacture of small satellite launch vehicles in collaboration with private sector. Third, productionization of polar satellite launch vehicle PSLV through Indian industry. Proper production of PSLVs only in Indian industry. The next one is productionization and marketing of space-based products and services including launch and application. After that is transfer of technology developed by ISRO centers and constituent units of Department of Space, and marketing spin-off technologies. Now that is what spin-off technologies is, those technologies which ISRO creates on its own and gives it off to the market, or maybe a technology that ISRO has developed for its own use, but market has found another kind of usage for the same material. That is also spin-off technology. So marketing spin-off technologies or products and services in India and abroad. So basically economy generation. We'll talk about Antrix now. Antrix is a commercial arm of ISRO. Now Antrix Corporation Limited was incorporated in 1992 under the Companies Act of 1956. It was set up in September of 1992 to market products and services of Indian Space Research Organization, and it is wholly Government of India owned company. And the administrative control of Antrix comes under the Department of Space. In 2008, the company was awarded a Mini Ratna status. Now Antrix promotes and commercially markets the products and services emanating from Indian space programs. So that was what Antrix has been doing till now. But in addition to Antrix, the Government of India felt that another company should also be made so that the side by side another functions can also be taking place so that the efficiency also increases. Now coming to the map period program. Today we'll be talking about the Ramsar sites of Himachal Pradesh. Now Himachal Pradesh has 3 Ramsar sites. The first one is Pong Dam Lake, Chandratal Wetland and Renuka Wetland. You can see the location of the wetlands in the diagram given here. You will see Chandratal and Pong Dam is in the north and Renuka is in the south of Himachal Pradesh. Now coming to the previous year question revision series. In the South Atlantic and Southeastern Pacific regions of tropical latitudes, cyclones does not originate. What is the reason? A. Sea surface temperature is too low. B. Intertropical convergence zone seldom occurs. C. Coriolis force is too weak. And D. Absence of land in those regions. Alright, now for this question, this is kind of like a little confusing question for many of you if you're not very strong, in geography. You have to have a good strong geography background for this. Just understanding, or basically the map itself, if you picture it in your head, it will be good enough for answering this question. So let's take each and every options one by one. The first option is sea surface temperature is too low. So there itself you can understand they talked about tropical latitudes. Now if there is tropical latitudes, you can understand the sea surface temperature is not too low, obviously. There itself you can eliminate option A. The second option is intertropical convergence zone seldom occurs. Now the ITCZ is those regions wherein the trade winds converge and there is a serious low pressure belt created there. But since now you would think that there is an intertropical convergence zone located there, so it there is ITCZ is constantly forming, but according to the option they are saying that it seldom occurs. So let's keep that aside. Number 3, the C option is Coriolis force is too weak. Now understand this, Coriolis force is absent or very weak only at the equator and just a little north and south of equator. But if you see according to the question, South Atlantic at South and Southeastern Pacific regions is below, considerably below the equator region. There a decent amount of Coriolis force does exist. And finally, so basically you can cut off the answer C. And then coming to the final option, that is D, that is absence of land in those regions. Now that is really easy to eliminate. There is an entire continent in between these two regions. The South Atlantic, on the western side you have the Brazil section of South America, and Southeastern Pacific regions. To the eastern side you have the Chile, Peru regions of South America. So there's an entire continent in the middle. So you can eliminate D there itself. So now we are left with option number B. So with elimination you can get the answer B. But to understand why ITCZ does not seldom occurs here is that ITCZ will be forming only in those regions where the temperature is too warm, right? Now there is water basically in this region. The isotherm that goes actually crosses only over the South American land, because land gets heated up much more quickly and then goes northward. So it actually misses these two regions. So because these two regions are there, the sea surface temperature is not as warm for cyclonic phenomenon to take place. So don't get confused between A and B. The water, since it is tropical waters, it is warm, but it is not as warm as it need to be for development of tropical cyclones. So therefore we can understand that option B is the answer. Another reason is that which I missed is that since there is not too much high temperature formed on the waters, there is not enough low pressure created over the waters. Now for a tropical cyclone to occur, one of the major factors is that the sea surface temperature should be very high, and accordingly over that there should be a considerable low pressure. Now since in this case, since intertropical convergence zone does not occur in those regions, the sea surface temperature is just normally warm, not too warm for a decent low pressure generation to happen so that it can attract the winds nearby and form a tropical cyclone. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you have any doubts or queries, you can write down in the comment section below. Thank you.